The Tsar was my father's first cousin. The Tsarina was my aunt, my mother's sister. Another of her sisters, my Aunt Elizabeth, had married the Grand Duke Serge. So our Russian connections were very close. We used to see our relations quite often, either in Germany or on visits to Russia. I loved Russia, and I was very, very fond of my Russian cousins. These old family photograph albums bring back memories of all the happy times we used to have together in that almost unbelievable world of my boyhood before 1914. In this photo with my cousins, I was just 10, and my little cousin Alexei, the Tsarevich, is in the carriage. But I can find a better picture of him here. He was heir to the throne. He was about 4 years younger than me and had very poor health. In fact, he was a hemophilic, which was a great worry. His 4 sisters, the Grand Duchesses Olga, Marie, Anastasia, and Tatiana, were very, very attractive. I remember I always secretly hoped to marry Marie. The Russian court was astonishing. Everything was on the grand scale. The size of the imperial palaces, the physique of the guards, the Cossack outriders whenever we went for a drive, the splendor of the ceremonial. It was the court of an autocrat. The Tsar's powers were absolute, quite unlike those of any other European monarch. The Tsar of all the Russias was answerable only to God for the way he ruled his country. Yet anyone less like an autocrat than my Uncle Nicky, it would be hard to imagine. He was a very kind-hearted, simple, charming man, but at the same time rather weak and indecisive. He was never happier than when he was playing with his children. And now all that was finished. All the splendor, all the happy memories were things of the past. My uncle had lost his throne. He and my aunt and all my cousins were under arrest. We were shocked and dismayed, but we didn't dream of the terrible things which were yet to come.
The revolution in Russia in March 1917 was a liberal revolution. The imperial family remained under arrest in the palace of Tsarskoye Selo, but was not ill-treated. The revolution was welcomed in the West as a sign that Russia would now emerge from inefficiency and despotism and continue the war with new vigor. Almost no one outside Russia understood the deep war weariness of her people. In October, a second revolution brought to power the Bolsheviks, whose slogan was, "Down with the war." At Brest-Litovsk in March 1918, the Germans and Austrians forced the Bolshevik government to accept humiliating terms of peace. But inside Russia herself, there was no peace, only civil war. Soon the Bolshevik government seemed to be on the point of collapse. The imperial family was now in exile far to the east at Tobolsk. As anti-Bolshevik forces advanced westward, the possibility of rescue arose. The prisoners were moved again. The anti-Bolshevik troops arrived too late. At Ekaterinburg, on July the 16th, 1918, in this house, the Tsar and all his family were murdered by order of the local Soviet.
We had very little news of the family after the Bolsheviks took over. We all hoped that they would ultimately be sent into exile, but we feared the worst. Even when it happened, it was a long time before we heard the details, which were quite horrible. They were all shot together. I believe my cousin Alexei, who was just 14 years old, didn't die at once. He was shot 3 more times. And my cousin Anastasia was bayoneted 18 times as she lay there screaming. Even their doctor and their servants were murdered with them, and afterwards their bodies were hacked into pieces. And the following day, my Aunt Elizabeth, who had founded the nursing sister movement and was revered almost as a saint, was also murdered by being flung down a mine shaft. These horrible deeds cast a shadow over the whole of my family for a very long time.